Doubts always flash through your mind when you take desperate measures. What could I have done to avoid this situation? What actions could I take to avoid ending up here? I was almost sure that nothing could be done. I had few options. How to convince an adult that his actions are destroying everything that is dear to him. You can't force him to do anything. You can only watch helplessly and deal with the consequences. This is the situation I found myself in. My loving wife decided that this would strengthen us, show how strong our love is for each other and what we mean to each other. I thought that this showed how weak her love for me was and how selfish and spoiled she was. I am an ordinary person living an ordinary life. I'm not a strong, gentle, romantic hero. I have flaws just like anyone else. I don't pay enough attention to anyone but myself. I work too much. Sometimes I get angry when I shouldn't. I don't do this on purpose, it just happens. I am human. Life is like that. Work and events get in the way. Amanda and I were married for 19 years. We had sex 2 or 3 times a week. It was always good, and we both enjoyed it. We were both ready for more when we could find the time. We were distracted by other things. Football, a good book, a TV show, or perhaps our daughters asking us to do something. We found time when it was needed or when one of us felt the desire. I never turned down the opportunity to make love to her, and she never did either. Life was going smoothly, and our finances were getting better every year. We had 2 daughters, Olivia and Audra, 16 and 14 years old. I may have been an ordinary person, but they were special. Our marriage was going well, the girls were happy and beautiful, and then my dear wife had ideas. She said we were too ordinary and we needed to add variety. I didn't mind. I wasn't unhappy with our sex life, but if there was one, I was willing to try. I was in good physical shape, and I really enjoyed it. That was great. I was for any experiment. Then the role-playing games began. I have no idea where it came from. Friends, women's magazines, or some stupid TV show. It was fun a couple of times, and then it just became stupid. I gave it up, and then she remained dissatisfied. "Corwin, when was the last time you went on a date?" she asked one day. "Last Friday, I took you to that Italian restaurant you wanted to visit," I replied. "We went to the cinema, and your mother stayed with girls for the night, remember?" "I don't mean with me," she said. "How long has it been since you went on a date with someone else?" "Oh my God, Amanda, are you accusing me of something?" I asked. No, dear, that's not the point. I was just wondering if you remember the name of the last girl you dated besides me." "Yes, I remember," I said. "Her name was Donna, and it was 2 weeks after I met you. I think you remember her too. We had a serious argument about that date. Do you ever miss it?" she asked. "God, no," I laughed. "I remember how terrible it was. Not the date itself, which was pretty good, but the whole process of dating. Working up the courage to ask a girl out, worrying about being rejected, awkward first conversations. It was fucking traumatic." "But wasn't it exciting and mysterious?" she asked. "More like absolutely terrifying," I said. "What brought you to this, Amanda?" "I was just wondering if you ever wanted to go on a date with someone else," she said. "No, I never wanted this," I told her. "I think everyone has fantasies, but no. I remember how annoyed you were when I went on a date with Donna and said you wanted us to be exclusive. I decided that this is what I wanted too. If I felt differently, I wouldn't ask you to marry me. I would just date women. This is what marriage is all about. You don't go on dates with anyone other than your spouse." She dropped the topic, and I didn't hear any more nonsense for a month. It was Friday night, and we had just finished making love. It was just me and her, husband and wife, no games or other nonsense. And then she ruined the whole moment. "Corwin, I saw the way Sibra looked at you tonight. She wanted you to ask her to dance." Sibra is a friend of ours from where Amanda works. We've known her for ages. We met her and Angela, another work friend, for dinner and then went to the club. Sibra is a really sweet and very attractive woman, about 5 years younger than us. "Well, that's very flattering, but I only want to dance with you," I told her. "I wouldn't be jealous if you invited her," she said. "It's nice, but you have no reason to be jealous because I'm not going to do it," I said. Would you be jealous if I danced with another man? She asked. I think your brother would be okay, I said. It was a joke, but she didn't laugh. I never minded if you danced with men who asked me politely and kept their hands in the right place. Was there someone there you wanted to dance with? I don't remember anyone asking me. No, I was just curious, she said. I had no idea where this was going, but I didn't like it. I thought I wouldn't be able to sleep, so I got up and went to the office. I was playing a video game and saw her come to the door and watch me for a minute. I didn't look at her, and she went back to bed. I waited until she was asleep before joining her. Everything was quiet for 2 months until we went to Angela's promotion party. It was at White Rhino, and there was a good band playing there. We were all sitting around a large round table, and Amanda was talking to Sebra. Corwin, Sebra wants to dance, Amanda said. Will you be a gentleman and dance with her? What the hell? I remembered a conversation 2 months ago. Now I found myself in a very awkward position. C was a good friend, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but I definitely didn't want to dance with her. Her curvaceous body next to mine did not bode well, but I did not know how to gracefully get out of this situation. I loved to dance, but I wasn't good at it. C was like a big cat, graceful and fluid, and I was going to look awkward. There was no good way out, so I stood up. I think they are playing our song. I extended my hand to C, and she stood gracefully, her gorgeous brown hips flashing under the short blue dress she wore. The song ended, and the band started playing a slow song. Damn, why now? C walked up to me as if she was meant to be here. When she looked at me, her big brown eyes were like liquid lakes, and her teeth sparkled white against her dark skin. She wasn't very dark, more of a café au lait color. Thank you for dancing with me, Corwin, she said. Amanda said you wouldn't mind, that you like to dance. I haven't danced since I broke up with Bruce. You dance very well, I said. Actually, I don't like dancing with you, see? I really like you. Damn, I love you. You're the sweetest girl I know, but you're sexy as hell, and that's not a good idea for me. She laughed. You're safe with me, Corwin. I love you too. If you weren't married, I would pursue you myself. But Amanda is my best friend. Let's just enjoy this dance, okay? And we finished the song. When we returned to our table, Amanda was no longer there. I looked around and noticed her black and white dress. She was on the dance floor with some young guy of Scandinavian appearance. She laughed, looking into his face, and his hands were much lower than they should have been. She noticed that I was standing and looking for her. She smiled and waved at me. I was pissed, really pissed actually. She sent me to dance with C so she could dance with the bastard herself. I threw a couple of 20s on the table and headed out. Sibra looked at me until I reached the door, and then she ran after me. She caught up with me when I was already halfway to the car. Corwin, wait, where are you going? She was a little out of breath. We were both used to it, I told her. Amanda has been talking about dating other people for a while now and asked me if I was thinking about it. It was a test. She's testing the waters. She arranged everything so that I would dance with you, so that she could have an excuse to dance with this handsome man. So what are you going to do? She asked. Are you just going to leave her there? That's what I'm going to do, I said. Well, you can't leave me here. She grabbed my hand. I came with you. I felt like a scoundrel. Sorry, C. I don't know what I was thinking. It's okay, Corwin. I don't like being manipulated either, she said. Take me home so I can pick up my car. We were almost home when my phone rang. I ignored him and Sibra looked at me. Her phone rang and she answered. We've almost arrived at your house, she said. She looked at me and said quietly, Amanda. No, it was not my idea. I came with you, remember? My transport was leaving and I was not going to be left alone. No, look, Amanda, I'm not involved in this. Don't put me in this position. We've been friends for a long time, girl, but if you play with me, you'll regret it. She ended the conversation. She wants you to come back and get her, she said. Well, I want my wife not to play stupid games, I sighed. Where does all this nonsense come from, see? I think it was from Marcy at work. she said. She constantly talks about how she and Herb have an open marriage and how great it is, how it has improved their sex life and strengthened their marriage. It's all a lie. He and Herb barely speak and are always trying to sleep with their friends. He's been harassing me for as long as I've known them, the bastard. She's been filling our heads with this nonsense for 2 years now. I didn't think Amanda was stupid enough to fall for it, but it looks like I was wrong. I think she was trying to push us, Corwin. She knows that I love you and that I have always been attracted to you. I almost choked. Thank you, C. It's very awkward. I mean, you're amazing, but I'm a one-woman man, and I don't like sharing my toys. I'm sorry she dragged you into this. Why should you apologize? She asked. You have nothing to do with it. I danced with the man of my dreams, and I don't regret it at all. Corwin, will you let me know how this ends? I assured her that I would, and she got into her car and drove away. I entered the house, thought for a moment, and collected my things from the bathroom in the bedroom and moved them to the guest room. Then I came back, packed my things for work the next day, and moved them there too. I locked the door and went to bed. For some reason, perhaps because I had drunk, I immediately fell asleep. I was half awake when the door downstairs slammed and I heard footsteps in the hallway. The bedroom door handle turned several times. Someone knocked on the door. Corwin, what the hell is going on? I heard her whisper. I think she didn't want to wake up the girls who were sleeping in the next room. She knocked and whispered for about 10 minutes, and then I heard her steps retreating into our bedroom. Well, this was our bedroom. Now I didn't know what it was. I realized I hated the bed in the guest bedroom. How many people have actually tried to sleep on a bed in a guest bedroom? I tried to get up and leave the house before she woke up. Yes, it was a cowardly plan, but who cares? I just didn't want to see her. It didn't work. She came down the stairs as I was putting documents into my briefcase. What the hell is wrong with you, Corwin? She hissed. She was furious. I think you should ask yourself this question, I said. What does this even mean? She raised her voice. You left me at the club last night, locked yourself in the spare bedroom, and are trying to sneak out of the house an hour before you have to go to work. Now do you think there's something wrong with me? Yes, that's exactly what I think, I said. I took my briefcase. Everything I did was a reaction to your actions. I don't even want to look at you right now. You have no idea how close I am to being seriously angry with you. Get your thoughts in order, check all your arguments, and be ready to talk about it when I get home. I'll pick up the girls and take them to their mom. We will solve this. Her face turned pale. I don't understand what you're talking about. What if I already had plans for the evening? It's up to you, I told her. If you're interested in fixing what's broken in our house, be prepared and stop with this nonsense. If you're happy with the way things are, do what you want. Oh yes, one more thing. Move your things to the guest bedroom. I like my bed. You don't belong in it. She swelled up like a toad, but I wasn't going to listen to it. I just left her there and went to work. I picked the girls up from school, and they were excited to go to Grandma's for the evening. I told my mom that Amanda and I were having problems, and we needed some time. She just hugged me and told me she loved me. I was grateful that I didn't have to answer a bunch of questions. Amanda was home when I returned. She had baked cookies, and a plate of them and a cup of coffee were waiting for me. She stood up and hugged me tightly before kissing me on the cheek and sitting next to me on the couch. I took the cookies. It was delicious, oatmeal with chocolate chips and M&Ms. Delicious, I said. She smiled, and it seemed like we were off to a good start. I didn't want to spoil this whole friendly atmosphere. Amanda, what you did last night was despicable, I told her. Not only did you do this to me, but you also brought C into it. It was humiliating for both of us. It was disrespectful to me and to that sweet girl who should be your friend. It was difficult for her to look me in the eyes. Sorry, Corwin, she said. I shouldn't have done that, okay? I was just trying to talk to you, and you just shut down. I thought, maybe this would be a way for you to see some possibilities. Possibilities for what? I asked. What exactly are you doing, and what are you thinking, Amanda? Just ask me, tell me, or whatever. You're playing games, and it makes me angry. She hesitated for a minute and then simply blurted out, I was just thinking that we could try dating other people. Well, there's one little problem with that, I told her. Actually, there are several problems. The first one is that we are both married. Other married people do this, she said. It's different now. A lot of people have open marriages and they love each other more than ever. It just makes their love for each other stronger. How do you know this? I asked her. Everyone knows that, she said. Girls at work talk about it all the time. Are these girls married? I asked her. Yeah, that's how I know. Say the name, I said. Marcy, she said. Marcy and Herb have an open marriage, and their marriage is stronger than ever. How do you know this? I asked her. She told me, she replied. Well, that means it's definitely true. How do you know she's not lying? I have an idea, I told her. Let's look on the internet. Google knows everything. Let's look at all these loving open marriages. She looked a little shocked, but came and sat next to me while I turned on the laptop. I opened my browser and typed in, how many people are in open marriages? I had no idea what we would find, but now I wanted to know. I clicked on the first link. According to a survey we read, less than 1% of Americans are in open marriages. We checked several other links, and the result was the same, less than 1%. It seems she was expecting something different. It's still a lot of people, she said. That's at least 3 million. This is wrong, I said. I doubt many children are in marriages, open or otherwise. Okay, let's try this, I suggested. I typed, how many Americans expect their partners to be faithful? We clicked the link and found out it was over 95%. What do you think this means? I asked. I think most people are not very open, she said. I thought there would be more people with alternative lifestyles. I hear about it all the time. I wonder how many of these open marriages end in divorce. Would you like to see? I asked. I don't think she wanted to. But I was interested and I wanted her to know. I typed, how many open marriages end in divorce? The answer turned out to be 92% of open marriages end in divorce within 5 years. Okay, I said, let's think about it. Less than 1% of Americans are in open marriages. That means that out of 1 million people, less than 10,000 are in open marriages. 92% of open marriages end in divorce. That means that out of those 10,000, only 800 don't end in divorce within 5 years. That's 800 out of 1 million, Amanda. You do the math. If 92% of the 1% fail, how many successful open marriages are there? Her voice was quiet. Not very big, she said. The few that are successful are the ones where both sides agree, I told her. Look at the screen. 100% of those where one of the parties was forced to do this ends in failure. Our marriage would be one of them, because I sure as hell am not going to do this voluntarily. You can imagine how my feelings of resentment, competition, jealousy, insecurity, and betrayal affect us if I allowed this to happen. The only possible reason I would agree to something so painful is if I was desperate to keep you. Not so desperate. Other women care about me too. One of them admitted it last night. If I were some pathetic loser who can't find a girlfriend or a crazy person who likes to watch his wife have sex with her. Other men, maybe I'd be interested in your game. But I'm not like that, Amanda. I'd rather you shoot me in the head than break my heart. I don't think you can believe everything you read on the internet, she said weakly. No, you're probably right, I said. I think a good part of it is probably nonsense. Especially the part about things are different now. A lot of people are in open marriages. This is the part you shouldn't believe. Do you really think you can believe anything this woman of easy virtue says? How many times has she been married? And how many times has he been married? I don't know about him, she said. Well, what about her? I asked. 4 times, she said quietly. And you take marriage advice from a 4-time loser? I asked in disbelief. It's not what you think, she objected. Her and Herb have a really strong marriage. I don't know what happened the other times. Maybe she married assholes. Or maybe she's an asshole herself, I said. All this crap annoyed me. I asked C where all this nonsense came from. She said that Marcy talks about it all the time. I also found out that Marcy and Herb hardly talk to each other and are always trying to sleep with their friends. What do you think everything will end, Amanda? What exactly are you doing? Well, don't you think our sex life has been a little boring lately? She asked. No, I don't think so, I replied. I was quite pleased. Things have gotten weird because you want to play stupid games. Wait a minute, were these games Marcy's idea too? I realized from her face that this was so. Damn it, I exploded. It was her idea. It's just incredible. We have a really strong marriage. It could be so good for us and so exciting, she said. We could go home and tell each other about our experiences, and it would stink so much. Don't you have fantasies about me being with another man and then coming home and having sex with you? Many men have this fantasy. This is in the top 10 male fantasies. Fantasy, I exploded. More like a nightmare. How do you know that many men have such a fantasy? Do you want to Google it? I don't know who would like this, but just thinking about it gives me goosebumps. If you do this, any of this, it's over between us, Amanda. She looked shocked. What do you mean, it's over? Do you mean you will divorce me? Is this all our marriage means to you? I thought you loved me more than this. I thought we had a strong marriage, and you would be open to new things. Yeah, I thought we had a strong marriage too, I said. Obviously, he's not as strong as I thought. The fact that you even say such things tells me that our marriage means nothing to you. What will you tell our daughters? Mom and Dad are getting divorced. Are you going to tell them why? We're not getting divorced, she said. If we were getting a divorce, it would be because their father doesn't love me enough to accept the fact that I love him enough to allow him to have another relationship. Try again, I said. What they will be told is that their mother does not love their father enough to keep her marriage vows. She doesn't love them enough to provide them with a good, loving home. Their mother wants to be a woman of easy virtue and doesn't care about anyone else. Now we were both angry, and she immediately sealed the coffin. I want it, she said. It will happen, Corwin. You'll have to deal with it. You can either come with me on this path or sit at home and sulk like a baby. This is where you are wrong, I told her. We won't survive this, Amanda. The moment you sleep with some idiot, it's over between us. I won't sit at home. I'll talk to a lawyer. I'll give you a couple of options. First, we just forget everything, and I'll talk to a lawyer tomorrow morning. We will get a divorce as soon as possible. Second, you make an appointment with a therapist in the morning to find out why you're crazy. Immediately after this, you make an appointment with a family consultant. We'll try to fix this mess. I will also go to a consultation and work with you, but I don't have much hope for success. This is a big fail, Amanda. I've seen this since you started getting carried away with strange ideas. I think that woman of easy virtue, Marcy, told you some nonsense, and you obviously swallowed it all. You think all these good things are going to happen. The only thing that will happen is that you will make everyone you say you love miserable. The girls, me and ourselves, we will all suffer because you somehow built this idea in your head. Believe me, I won't sit at home. What are you going to do about it? Now she was mocking me. You can't stop me. You don't own me, and I can do whatever I want. You won't divorce me. You have something to lose. I'll take the girls and the house, and you'll pay alimony and child support. Think about it, Corwin. Don't do anything stupid. I love you. I will never leave you. This can be so exciting for us. We will experience all these new sensations without any risks or negative consequences. I'll come home, or you'll come home, and we'll be there for each other. Come on, baby, let's just try. If you don't like it, we'll stop, and that'll be the end of it. She stood up, walked over to my chair, and tried to hug and kiss me. I pushed her hands away and stood up. Don't touch me, I told her. I need to think about this. I'll let you know what I decide. I lied. I didn't have to think about it. I just needed to get everything ready. She was probably right in everything she said about the divorce. This whole system is broken. I needed to take a few steps. I left her there, went up to the master bedroom, and locked the door. After half an hour on the computer and 10 minutes on the phone, I came up with a plan for money. The problem was the girls. I checked, and according to Georgia law, we lived in Atlanta. Children over 14 years old can choose who to live with. I was confident. Audra was my princess, always has been. Olivia loved me too, I knew that, but she also loved her mother very much. I knew Audra wouldn't go with Amanda, and I didn't think Olivia wanted to be separated from her sister. I figured that if they heard what their mother was planning, how she was going to use them as leverage to get me to accept this open marriage, they would want nothing to do with her. Yes, it was cynical, and I hated every thought I had, but I wasn't the one to change the rules. That was the point. If Amanda had come to me before we got married and told me she wanted to stay faithful for 19 years and then start sleeping with other people, I wouldn't have married her. Not for the world. I would run away from her like a cat with a burning tail. She knew this and would have done the same. Now she wanted to change the rules and force me to go along with it. She threatened me with what she would do if I didn't agree. If she came to me and told me she wanted to sleep with others and wanted a divorce, I would be very hurt, but I would do the honorable thing. We would split everything up, draw up a joint custody agreement, and that would be the end of it. But after this blackmail, no. The conversation took place 2 days later. Amanda didn't know that the girls were listening to us from the stairs. She started with an apology. I didn't buy it. So you've decided to go to a therapist and start marriage counseling? I asked. I'm fine, she replied sharply. It's your problem. You're going to sleep with other men, and I'm the one with the problem? I asked. I don't plan anything, she said. I don't have any big plans about dating. That is, sleeping with someone else. I don't even expect this. I just think we should have that option if it happens. I have another idea, I told her. Just so you know, I have had opportunities to cheat on you too. It's not every day, but I've had chances like this a dozen times over the years. Do you know what stopped me? What? She asked. I had a plan, I told her. I planned not to change. I approached all of these situations with the plan of not doing it. That's what marriage is all about, planning to have a good marriage, planning not to sleep with other people. If you don't plan to succeed, you plan to fail. Isn't that what they say? This is exactly what you plan to do. You plan to betray all the promises you made to everyone, me, our children, God, and everyone else. How do you think girls will take it? You won't say a word to them, she hissed. You know the mother always gets custody of the children. I will take them from you, and you will never see them again. I will make sure that every time you have the opportunity to see them, something will happen. You better not even think about telling them anything. She glared at me and left the room. I heard a couple of faint gasps from the stairs and muffled sobs. Amanda was making too much noise to hear it. When I approached the stairs, the girls were no longer there. I went to Audra's room, but it was empty. As I approached Olivia's room, I heard muffled voices inside. I knocked, and Olivia asked what I wanted. Can I come in? I asked. She opened the door. Come in, Dad, she said. We thought it might be Mom. They were both clearly crying. I sat between them and hugged them both. I'm so sorry you had to hear that, I told them. I didn't think you'd believe me unless you heard it for yourself. It's okay, Dad, Olivia said. It's not your fault. It's her fault. I didn't believe you. Well, I didn't think you'd lie to us, but I thought you might have misunderstood her. Now we know everything. How could she do this to you? How could she do this to us? I don't know, honey, I told her. I have no idea. She's out of her mind. She heard a lot of crap from someone at work. She decided that she would do this, and that was it. I tried everything I could to dissuade her. She doesn't care. Do you think she's sick? Audra asked. I don't know what's happening to her, I said. I tried to convince her to go to a therapist. You heard me. I suggested going to family counseling. She's just not interested. What are we going to do? She asked. Nothing right now, I said. When she thinks I've given up, she'll probably go on a date. When this happens, we will be ready. When she returns, we will no longer be there. I'll try to dissuade her. I don't think she'll listen. Are you with me, or do you want to stay with her? They exchanged glances. No, Dad, we're coming with you, Audra said. My heart rejoiced. 19 years that ended in disappointment, but there was a reason I knew everything would be okay. I won't regret a single minute as long as I have my girls. It took almost 2 months. These were the strangest 2 months of my life. Amanda and I hardly spoke. We were like roommates who didn't really like each other. She slept in the spare bedroom, and I slept in our old room. I tried to talk to her, to convince her of the madness of her plan. One evening, while we were weeding the garden, I started talking about it. Amanda's, do you think your plan is working? Is our family getting stronger? Where is all that hot sex you were talking about? Is this exciting? Is this what you thought was so great? Is this what you wanted? She looked at me, and I noticed the first hint of doubt in her eyes. But it quickly gave way to anger. If you weren't such a jerk, things would be different, she snapped. I don't want my wife planning to sleep with other people. She insists that she will do it whether I like it or not. Am I the one acting like a jerk here? Yes, you are, she almost screamed. You don't even want to think about how great this could be for both of us. It doesn't have to be that way. You could just forget about your male pride and everything would be perfect. Ideal for whom? I asked. Certainly not for me. For me, this is the worst thing that could happen. You clearly don't care about me. I love you much more than you love me, she said bitterly. I love you enough to give you freedom, to let you explore boundaries and still keep you in my heart. I don't consider this love, I told her. I think it's selfish. I love you enough not to use my freedom. I love you enough not to sleep with other people, not to explore any boundaries. If you really loved me, you would do the same. When you stopped loving me, Amanda? I haven't stopped, she began to cry. I love you more than ever. That's why I can allow this. My love for you is stronger than you could ever imagine. So love for you is driving a stake through my heart. Is that love for you? I asked. That's not what I do, she was furious now. I'm going to the club Friday night with Bill White from work, she said. Sibra is coming with us. Please, Corwin, come with us. Give it a try. I promise you won't be disappointed. It will be the hottest thing we've ever done. I pretended to think about it for a minute. Okay, damn it. You're going to do it anyway. I think I better join in. She instantly found herself in my arms, clinging to me and sobbing. Corwin, she sobbed. God, thank you, honey. I was going crazy. I thought you'd never even think about it. You won't regret it, baby, I promise. You'll never regret it. I already regretted it, but the situation was unbearable. I couldn't continue living like this. I wondered if C could help me. I decided to call her. It turned out that she was damn angry. She had no idea what was going on when Mandy invited her to the club. She didn't know that Bill White would be there, and she certainly didn't know that she was being set up to be with me. That bitch, she said when I told her everything. I'll call her right now, and she'll get hers. See, do you trust me? I asked her. What's that supposed to mean? She was indignant. I trusted that bitch wife of yours too. See, calm down, I told her. I need your help. I know you're upset, but I really need you to help me. This is the breaking point. I'm leaving her. We'll get a divorce as soon as possible. I'm ready, but I need your help. I'm going to play along, and I need you to play along with me. I heard her take a deep breath into the phone. What's on your mind? She asked. I'll pretend I'm okay with all this, I told her. I'll invite you to come home with me. All you have to do is pretend that you want it. She laughed. How can I be sure this isn't some evil plan to get me into your bed? I chuckled. It is, I told her. I need you to take the girls to my new place while I move our things out of the house. This brought out her evil side, and she agreed that her revenge could wait. I didn't know she had a vengeful side, but it worked to my advantage. This whole week, Amanda slept with me like there was no tomorrow. On Friday, there would be no tomorrow for us. She was wild, telling me over and over how great it would be and how much I would love it. Friday morning, before leaving for work, I tried again. Are you sure about this, Amanda? It's not too late. You can call it off. Wasn't this week great when it was just the two of us? Corwin, we've already discussed all this. If you don't like it, we'll talk later, but I won't change my mind. She smiled at me. Yes, Corwin, this last week has been wonderful. I loved it and I love you. Tonight is going to be the best. You will see. Thank you for doing this with me. You won't regret it, Corwin. I know you'll love it. She danced as she left the bedroom. Did she know I'd like it? Yes, of course, I thought gloomily. Let this day end soon. When Zebra came to see me on Friday evening, she looked absolutely stunning. Amanda was cute, small and slender, with small breasts and a cute face. Zebra was on a completely different level. She was tall, she had large and firm breasts, and one of those curvaceous behinds, which everyone talks about, but which you rarely see. Amanda was a bit flat in this regard. Zebra was wearing a short, tight red dress with sequins. She looked absolutely gorgeous. I was wearing a sports jacket, black trousers, and a ribbed t-shirt under the jacket. When I let her in, she looked me up and down appreciatively. She smiled wryly at me. Now I know for sure that you want to get into my bed, she said. Well, yes, but not tonight, I said. It's all business. Sex can wait. It's a pity, she said. I'm wearing a thong and I think you'd like it. Show me, I said. Stop it. Amanda could come in at any moment, she whispered furiously. Exactly, I said. We need her to think I'm playing by her rules. She giggled, and then Amanda walked in. Roman 11 screamed. Amanda simply smiled. I see you've already started. Leave it until the dance, and then take off the number. I already have a number, I told her. Why don't you and Bill get a room? She grinned at us, picked up her clutch, and off we went. Bill met us at the club. I don't think the evening started out the way he expected. I shook his hand and just squeezed it. I've been powerlifting for years, and if you lift without straps, it gives you a pretty good grip. I saw his knees go weak, and I let him go. It was clear that he wanted to whine and rub his arm, but his image did not allow this. He was one of those handsome guys. Have you ever noticed that as a man gets closer to what some women consider ideal, the likelihood that he is a hairdresser or a Scientologist tends to infinity? Look at Tom Cruise. I was wondering about Bill. Listen, Bill, are you a hairdresser by any chance? I asked him. He snorted. Hell no, he said. These guys are all gay. Yes, I know, I replied. He seemed to want to draw some conclusion from this, but his arm hurt too much. Do you know who Ron Hubbard is? I asked him. Yes, how do you know? He asked. I've been a Scientologist for 6 years now. I shrugged. Just testing a theory, I said. Zebra almost choked with laughter. I had mentioned my little theory to her before, and she was about to burst out laughing. We both looked at Amanda, and she was purple with rage. Perhaps I shared too many of my private theories with her. Let's find a booth, she said, and walked away with her back held high like a stick. As soon as he walked a few meters away, Zebra burst out laughing. I took her hand, and we followed them while she wiped tears from her eyes. You are a cruel man, Corwin, she breathed. Yeah, well, it's a hell of a night, I replied. Pull yourself together, see. Make it look like you're seducing me. And she did a great job with it. By the time we got to the booth, watching her gorgeous ass jiggle in front of me, I was already halfway seduced. I decided that I was completely seduced when I danced with her twice. Meanwhile, Amanda was doing her thing with Mr. Bill when we returned the second time. Are you ready for the big show? I asked Zebra. She looked at me with her slanted eyes, with an expression that showed that this was not just a game for her. Her eyes were huge and glowing brown, and I felt myself sinking into them. I couldn't help myself. I should have kissed her. I heard a noise, and Amanda and Mr. Bill were already getting back into the booth. Oh no, I said in my best Saturday Night Live voice. Look who's back. Zebra got the joke, and so did Amanda, but Mr. Bill was left in the dark. Don't do anything bad to him, sluggo, Zebra giggled. Amanda flushed like a ball fish, and the little grin disappeared from her face. C and I are going to leave here, I told them. Have fun, kids. Amanda walked us to the door. Are you sure everything is okay, Corwin? She asked. You were acting kind of idiotic. No, I'm not fine, I told her. Mandy, it's not too late. You had your fun. Just get out of here with me right now. We'll go home and try to make things better. If you stay, this will be forever. No, Corwin, she said. It's going to be so great for us. Just go and enjoy C. It's going to be great, you'll see. Just try not to be such a jerk, okay? Good luck with that. We're leaving. She grabbed my hand. It's going to be so great, Corwin. You'll see. Roman 11 wants you. You can tell me all about it when I get home. Aren't you going to spend the night with him? I asked. I thought you'd be with a stud like him all night. Well, maybe, she hesitated a little. I thought I'd be home by midnight, and then we'd do our own thing, spice things up. Oh, right, I hit my forehead. I forgot. Well, I'll see you when you get back. If C and I are still, having sex, try to be quiet, okay? She looked at me and kissed me. I hope she liked it. This was her last kiss. I went out and got into the car. Roman 11 was already waiting. Are you sure you know what you're doing, Corwin? She asked. You've been married a long time. Yes, I'm sure, I sighed. I expected you to be more upset, she said. Over time, you just run out of strength, I said. I've been upset for a long time. Now I'm just sick, tired and sick. I just want it to be over. Somehow I lost the energy to be upset. I cried liters of tears, and the time to cry is over. Time to move on. Let's go for girls. When we arrived, the truck was already loading. The girls carried their clothes downstairs and put them in large plastic boxes. We didn't take much furniture. The bed from the master bedroom, the girls' beds, their TVs and electronics, and the big screen we replaced 6 months ago with an even bigger one. When the girls finished packing, C drove them in her car to our new home. It was as far away from the old one as possible, but still in the same school district. The guys finished packing, and I took one last look around. The house seemed empty and quiet. The ghosts of 19 years were the only thing left. I sighed, took off my wedding ring, and threw it on the kitchen table along with my cell phone. The girls' phones were already there, and it was time to leave. I felt melancholy come over me. I left with pathetic attempts. A few little jabs at Amanda, and Mr. Bill and I were walking away with a 19 that was pretty good. Well, shit happens. I locked up the house, loaded my tools from the garage into the back of my truck, and drove away. The girls were delighted with the new house. There was a pool in the backyard, and they couldn't wait to try it out the next day. Do you like it, baby? I asked Audra. Yit, she said. I had no idea what it meant, but it sounded good. Sebra was there, and she still looked amazing, but even if she was Jennifer Lawrence in real life, I was just tired. It's not that I prefer Jennifer Lawrence to Sebra, but you know what I mean. I think she sensed this and just gave me a dazzling smile, a quick kiss on the cheek and left, leaving only the scent of her perfume to remind me that she was there. We went to bed, and, surprisingly, I fell asleep. Not very well, but I still fell asleep. The next morning I got up and made coffee, and the girls arrived a little later. For breakfast we had Danish kringle and chocolate milk. They watched cartoons until noon, and then 2 small but amazing girls splashed around in the pool while I sat in the lounge and watched them. I didn't really follow them. I thought about what Mandy was doing now. By this time she was probably already panicking. I was sure she was calling everyone she could, trying to figure out what had happened. It would be difficult for her to find us. I didn't work anymore. I sold the business and did it very profitably. The girls did not go to school. It was summer holidays. We weren't going anywhere except to the grocery store, which we walked or took the bus to. The truck was parked in the garage. I was sure that she had involved the police in the search, but without a car they would have difficulties. The only way she could contact us was electronically. She filled our inboxes with messages, sent the girls private messages every time they went on social media, and sent tweets and Instagram messages. We read them, but did not respond. Let her find us herself. I knew she would find us sooner or later, but she would have to work and pay bills. I had no intention of making any payments, and if she didn't make them, she would quickly find herself in debt. We had enough saved up in the house, and I knew she wouldn't want to lose it. I think she was getting desperate because 3 weeks later, a private investigator approached me at the grocery store. "Mr. Decker?" he asked. "Who wants to know?" I answered. "Your wife hired me to find you," he said. "I'm going to tell her where you are. You should call her. If I see you here again, I'll file you for stalking," I told him. "Go away, dog." I wasn't going to call her. It turned out that this was not necessary. The police found us, and Mandy convinced them that I had kidnapped the girls. They asked me to go with them to the station to clarify everything. When I refused, they arrested me and took me to the station. The girls were put in another car, and when we arrived, Amanda was there. She tried to hug the girls, but they were not interested. They pushed her away, and one woman took them and Amanda. They went into one room, and they took me to another. The police started questioning me as if they were eager to accuse me. I have confirmed my identity. They already had my driver's license, and the only words I said were, "I intend to remain silent and want to talk to a lawyer." This silenced them. "He's hiring a lawyer," I heard one of them say. They gave me a phone number, and I called John Trimble. He was there in 45 minutes. Sibra was with him. We planned it all. It took about 3 hours to get everything sorted out. The girls said that they were with me of their own free will, there was no kidnapping, and they did not want to talk to their mother. John got busy. He pointed out that there was no court order for custody, that under Georgia law both parents are considered equal candidates for custody, and that children over 14 can choose which parent they want to live with. They had no choice but to let us go. C walked with us, and Amanda walked behind, begging the girls to talk to her. They got into Sebra's car and drove off, leaving Amanda and me alone in the parking lot. Amanda was sobbing and looking terrible. She looked at me with sad eyes and fell to her knees. "Corwin, for God's sake, talk to me. Please, I beg you." "I remember begging you not to have sex with Mr. Bill," I said. "You didn't listen. Why should I?" "Please, Corwin, don't treat me like that," she sobbed. "I'm sorry, okay? Can we just go somewhere and talk?" "Okay, let's talk," I said. "Where do you want to go?" "Home," she begged. "Can we just go home? I don't want anyone to see me like this." "We can go to my house," I told her. "I don't want to go to you. I don't know who you slept with there." She let out a quiet groan of despair, but nodded her head. "Okay, Corwin, whatever you say," she said. "But this is your home, too." I wasn't going to argue with her. She wanted me to go with her, but I wasn't going to be stuck in the same car with her. I called a taxi, and she followed me. I knew that the girls were with Sibra, and they would spend the night with her. They had known her all their lives, and now they were very close. Amanda came in, and I poured her coffee. We sat at the bar, and the silence became unbearable. The silence between us hadn't been awkward since the third date, but now it certainly was. "What do you want, Corwin?" she finally asked. "Did I say I wanted something?" I answered. "I mean, what do I need to do?" she said. "What do I need to do to get you home? What do I need to do to see the girls?" "Hey, I don't have control over whether you see girls," I said. "It was their choice." "What did you tell them?" She blamed me. "You told them something. You turned them against me. I read about it." "Are you sure Marcy didn't tell you that?" I asked. Her eyes dropped. Obviously, Marcy was the source of all wisdom. "What do you want?" she repeated. "You know what's the funniest thing?" I asked. "The funny thing is, I didn't tell them a word about you. The only thing I told them was that I'm leaving you, and they need to decide who they want to stay with. Do you want to know who told them? You tell them everything you told them." "What do you mean?" she asked. "I didn't say anything. When could I have done that?" "Remember that night in the living room when you threatened me?" I asked. I saw that she remembered. They were sitting on the stairs. They heard every word you said. Her face turned pale and she began to sob. I didn't want this, she sobbed. I just. She couldn't continue. Well, they think you wanted it, I said. Actually, I think you wanted it too. I think the majority wins. What can I do? Her pleas were pathetic. My situation was also pitiful. With them, I have no idea and I don't care, I said. You ruined everything, you fix it. What can I do with you? She asked. Well, you could file for divorce, I said. I don't want a divorce. I just want you to come home, she said. I'm already home, I told her. I don't live with you anymore. I'm sorry, Corwin. It was all a big mistake, she said. I shouldn't have forced you. You didn't want it, and I should have just accepted it. Now I accept it. Can't you forgive me, and we could just go to a marriage counselor? I'll go to a therapist. I will. Whatever you want. I'm sorry too, I said. The problem is not that I didn't want it. The problem is that you wanted it. I want you to file for divorce. I'll give you some time. In a few months, if you don't file, I'll file for divorce myself. I don't want anything to do with you, Amanda. Because you turned out to be a person who could do what you did, it's over between us. You thought you could hold the children hostage and force me to become a cuckold. You thought you could hold me hostage and do whatever you want. Now you realize that it won't work, and you gave up. Amanda, file for divorce. You bastard, she exclaimed. You stole all our money. You sold the business, and there's maybe $50,000 left in our bank accounts. Half the money you took belongs to me. I haven't touched a penny of your money, I replied. I sold the business at a huge loss because I had to do it quickly. I only took the money I made. You know what? I didn't have a cent left. It was true. The money was safely hidden in an offshore account. I realized that the time for this is before the divorce. According to the documents, I sold the business to a Danish company for less than what I owed in taxes. I also seriously